Another moment in culture. The question is, do bilinguals have two cultures within two languages? The literature in bilingual education is rich, and the question of language proficiency in the first and second language is really complex. Many bilinguals attest that one has two domains, one in one culture and one is the other. And they also attest they can solve problems very differently in one culture and another. That is very interesting. So we can see that language development is really not a simple issue. Unfortunately, we are now acquiring a more profound understanding of language development in multilingual contexts. In my lifetime, I had three languages in context in my experience. First was the English language in the United States. Secondly was the Portuguese language in Portugal. And third, which is very interesting, is the Portuguese-American language. That is, I mixed first and second language, and I created new terms that really did not exist in either language. A perfect example of this is someone who comes from a country that never has had snow. So the person comes here and asks the question, what is that called in English? Oh, it's snow. Then the person will return to one's homeland and try to explain to their family, snow, but will not use the term snow in their native language. They will say sino. And of course, they are very confused. This is what I say is my third language. I do understand Portuguese-American speech, and when I'm, of course, in that environment, I will also communicate in that environment. There's a perfect example of this years ago when I was living in Lisbon and I was shopping at a mall. At the checkout counter, there were two women behind me, and it was interesting. I thought they were Portuguese natives. Spoke Portuguese, talked Portuguese in a native language existence. But all of a sudden, the woman said to the other, I'll call you back later in Portuguese. Of course, eu chamo para trás is not equivalent in the Portuguese language. Of course, I was curious, and I turned around and said, where are you from in the United States? How did you know that? Well, we don't call you back in Portugal. There is also another complexity which Jim Cummings coined as BICS and CALP. CALP is for Cognitive Academic Level Proficiency, and BICS is bilingual interpersonal social skills or communication skills. The research more or less says if you possess CALP in one language, it is easier to transfer to the second language and use CALP in similar ways. This is also true for BICS. However, this again comes very complex. The question is, when does BICS become CALP? And when does CALP sometimes become BICS? Of course, BICS is possessed in one language, the same transfer may take place. However, it is possible to attain and acquire BICS in one language and acquire a CALP in the second. As one can note, this is very complex indeed. The following works or poems were written by me to show and illustrate the complexity of who I am and who I'm not. So here we go. Enjoy. I am who I am I not? Implicit in my character are many personalities, complicated by three. What is so intriguing about this situation that all these factors are very real and dear to me. They make me think in different ways in similar situations. I can reflect in the three and really subdivide them into social realities within several parts of my being. These parts could be knowledge, speech, personality, feelings, dress, and so on. I guess I could combine all these things and still remain as one. Really, that would be nice. My best way to express my crazy accidental environment is through the written word. This is because I can hide who I am. I can play with words, translate them, or transform each one to another. Sometimes I cannot use a word in another context because I know that it belongs only to one particular space and time. This is sad because I cannot tell others who do not know this word what I mean or feel in a direct way. Now let me tell you about the 3 pieces of my own personality. I feel sorry for those who only have one word for one thing and only see it in one way. That is not to say that I'm better than anyone else, but it's to say I can feel in different forms. Oh well, if they only knew that what is to be many in one. This is more than what you think, because many times I compare one part of me with another having trouble accepting what is right and what is wrong. You know, sometimes I say, oh, maybe insanity is a lovely place to be. Do you ever think that Isaac Newton would challenge Einstein in a Coimbra cafe? Okay, let's try that. Let's try insanity is a very lovely place to be. Focusing on the cold mist nocturnal air mixed with oxygen unclear. Thread mills cotton nylonic talk babbled in a foreign tongue. Lookalikes everywhere you turn. Blue, yellow, black. Makes no sense where logic appears only once. Babies creep out of mother's wombs, eyes first. Love and hate are bent from the mind where evolution means war and peace to separate the weak from the strong. 7 times 35 wide angle field is only 10 degrees. You look around and see nothing but figures dancing in gold dust. Still beauty awaits when Cartesian gravity is really no more. Coral seas polluted with technology to better the human race, while planes fly without wings, and gasoline and other fantasies to watch and play. Stars disappear with ease as they squirm into God's breast, laughing heartily at the universe below. Ha 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 ha! There is no middle, no beginning, no end, with 3-legged goats giving mountain cheese. I hit my head against the wall. Blood flows into genetic stream with Fellini's Satyricon dreams and the exploration of Mr. Ed, really so pure and refined. God of Zeus and the one-eyed man, like Simoes, play Russian roulette. The children's hour and the 3 spirited things, one is the Father and the other is the Son and the other is the Holy Ghost. Monads, I, and it, where Newton challenges Einstein in a Coimbra cafe, and to study how relativity is. I must go to sleep now, where my dreams will make more sense, and beauty will again appear. I smile, I rest in peace. My eyes close into the inner world of light and yellow. It is like death, inner rest, and internal life. Insanity really is a lovely place to be. I hope you enjoyed that work. It really is an exploration of insanity. It is an exploration of other ways of thinking. That is really curious because the mind can create new things, new ideas. And the poet does the same. And of course, people who write literature also do the same. The next one is called Nowhere. And many bilinguals say that. They say, I live in one culture, I live in the other culture, but I'm really nowhere. Oh, please help me. I don't know what to do. I'm nowhere. So here we go. Nowhere I am, always in a place to be. I am split in 2. I think, penso que o mundo é dois, or I really think the world is two. Why is this so? I ask others who see me this way. Eu sou português, but they say eu sou americano. I'm an American, but they say I'm Portuguese. Ha! Ooh, I don't know. There's nowhere a place to be. Rock and roll and the fado are my favorite kinds of music notes. Hot dog and cozido à portuguesa really fits my palate well. Disneyland and the Feira Popular always make me happy, and I always have fun. Know where I am. I'm always a place to be. O metro and the subway gives me a ride under the earth. That is, when I think of Lisbon, I go to the metro. When I think of New York, I'm on number 7 in under the earth. The CP and Amtrak provide me with the same kind of ride. An autostrada and a highway are the same thing to me. Uma bica and espresso divide me in 2 different ways. Yes, I can go to Starbucks for an espresso, but I can go to Lisbon to get a bica. Oh, that is so nice. But here I am, still, somewhere, always a place to be. The other work is called Change and Still at the Same Place. In other words, when we change, and yet are we the same? Of course we're not. Long ago, I left to go to other places and do other things. It was time of my youth, a time that we all have, small grasped with existence in space and history until it is no more. Children played games that were unknown to me. My place and time were fixed in space. Oh, how beautiful it was then just to be. Play, 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 play. The magic dragon who lived by the sea. I shall not want and I shall not take. I went to church to purify my soul, to know the next day I'd still be the same. My life went in a sneeze. No more Humpty Dumpty or the Teatro Deed. The witching hour is close to me, like Longfellow's man's asleep. All that changed still remains the same. That is, it's just interesting that folks who come from one country to another migrate, immigrate. And sometimes what they do is what sociologists and anthropologists call time freeze. They will freeze their time when they left. And so therefore the images, the language, the production of things are at one moment in time. Then they go to another land and really learn new things. At the same time, when they think back in their past, which is frozen in time. Many folks told me when they go home 10, 15 years later, they say, "This is not the same anymore. What happened? This is not my country." And so time has been frozen. The last poem is called On Language. It is really an exploration of what language is, and yet what it's not. I find this very interesting because I do use, or attempt to use anyway, some of the literature in linguistics. So here we go. Let's try it and see if you enjoy it. Metaphoric consciousness that shapes one's soul to the earth and fosters love in one's mind for everlasting truth. Little is known about why and when this awareness is created, and for what reason and the like. It defines love and hate at the same time, but still hinders us in dealing with many facets of what is and what is not. Many words we gather, possess, and use in our lifetime, though we do not understand the deep meaning of what we say. Beauty can be created with great emotions that touch our very essence, the beauty that penetrates many realities, but hides really its own function. There are many tongues on this earth, and possibly even the universe itself, saying really the same thing. Still, we believe that the same words are saying different things. Visual creations are formed and shape what makes us see the world in many complex ways. And at the same time, we attempt to simplify that so we can be who we are. Body movements and body distances are done and then analyzed in another language, believing that our way of thinking is immune to subjectivity. A Chomsky, a Worf, and others will use language to explain what it is, thinking that their objectivity has been accomplished. Ha! The poet will smile and continue in its own exploration. Government will create rules for what is right and preserve the correct way, and then they hire others to preserve this as true knowledge and true value. People who do not have the cultural capital are put aside and even sometimes identified as deficient. Computer chips now create ways of defining the old. Artificial voices explain new forms of the same thing. 2 plus 2 is no longer 4, and 4 plus 4 is no longer 8, but explains 33. The forms are shaped and changed from one moment to another. A media event can create new thoughts from the forms of the past. A past that makes the present and all the future all in one. Still, my folks, my friends, I still do not know what language is and what it could be. I hope you enjoyed this exploration on language. Again, as I said, it's very, very complex, and it is something that we all use. It could be in one language, could be in another, could be in 3, could be in 4, could be in one culture, could be in another culture. But still, language is still a mystery, and it will be a mystery for the near future.